Hi guys, Shauna here, and this is this week's standing flow. So we are going to be continuing with the theme of yoga for beginners. So this week's flow is going to be a little bit more cueing, more explaining a lot of the fundamental movements and kind of alignment of the standing poses. These poses may not be the easiest, so like it is for beginners, but it may still be a little bit strenuous just because like your legs will get a little bit tired in Warrior 2. I'm gonna try to keep this as simple as possible, but it's gonna be a lot more explaining, a lot more breaking down the muscles of the poses, a lot more cues on alignment, and we're gonna be utilizing some blocks. I have these fancy ones that turn into this. You don't need this. We're just gonna be needing the general blocks. So just so I can explain that if you see these blocks, there's nothing special about them that you need for this. These are just my blocks that I like to have to practice my jumping through and handstands and stuff. But I do encourage you to get your blocks if you have them, keep them nearby. This is gonna go obviously as usual in conjunction with our seated beginner flow. You may notice that normally I'm wearing the same clothes for both videos. This is the first time I actually haven't filmed them both on the same day, and that was just due to our doggy guests. But anyway, we are going to be starting seated and working our way through a whole bunch of standing poses. Again, this is going to be beginner flow, so I want to make sure to emphasize that if you ever need a break, feel free to pause. Feel free to pause, feel free to rewind it. Take your time and don't be hard on yourself. Yoga is not about being perfect. It's not about getting everything exactly the way I do it. Your body is different than mine. My body is different than somebody else's. You know, everyone has certain tendencies. You know, I have a tight shoulder, I have a messed up knee, you know, like you may have injuries or anything else going on that could cause you to need to modify. So don't stress if you don't look exactly like I do. Don't ever stress about looking perfect in yoga. It's all about feeling things properly. And as always, as many of you who've done my classes before know, feel free to wiggle. Like if I'm telling you to do a thing and you're really feeling wiggling in it, go for it. As many of you know as well, I don't teach with music on here, but I encourage you to play your own music in the background. I typically cannot do my own practice without some music. So with that all being said, I just want to preface, if you are a brand new beginner, be kind to yourself. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to be a little bit lost. And if you are one of my kind of weekly people in my Waffles at Midnight group, feel free to do a different video this week if you're like, it's fine. But also I do encourage you, maybe try it out, because it's always good to get back to the basics. And even if you've been practicing for a long time, you may not have visited these poses in these particular ways that often. So we are gonna get started. And we're gonna go ahead and start seated for this. As you guys all know, if you feel more comfortable in a Virasana or on your back, go for it. We are always gonna do some breathing. If you are doing this in conjunction with this week's previous video, you may have done a whole bunch of breath work already. Skip it. You know, it's always choose your own adventure. But wherever you are, I do want you to check in with your breath. Take a second here. And just settle in, prepare your mind and body for the practice. You know, yoga isn't about getting to some perfect serene state, but we do want to kind of just get ourselves focused a bit, you know, get rid of everything else that's bothering us. And we're not trying to actively clear our minds, but we are trying to let go of the thoughts that pass and not hold on to them. And let's just take our time, settle in, maybe lengthen the breath. Maybe begin to use our Ujjayi breath, which is inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the nose while constricting the back of our throat, making our little Darth Vader breath. And breathing in and out through the nose. Good. And if you've done the previous video for this week already, you'll have done this already. So again, if you'd like to skip, go ahead. But for anyone else, I would like us to warm up with a little bit of dynamic movement. So we're just gonna do a little bit of neck rolls. So right ear to right shoulder, chin into chest, left ear to left shoulder, roll it around. Take it nice and slow. Find any areas that have tension. Good. Maybe go back and forth, switch direction. Just find what your body needs and take your time. I'm going to start shrugging our shoulders around into it. So neck rolls with our shoulders moving back and forth. And again, this is one of the reasons why I encourage movement, because I love having some music on and just flowing with it and moving. So feel free to take whatever you need. We're going to start coming into some body rolls, hinging at the hips, rolling it around. We're not going to spend too much time on a warm-up, but just enough to get us moving. Again, roll it around, switch direction. Good. Maybe your hips will crack like mine do. And take your time. Roll it out. Maybe zigzag side to side. Find any movements that your body might need here. Good. Inhale up. And we're going to roll right over into our tabletop. We have the option of either going and rolling over our knees, crossing our ankles, or if this is too hard for us, because this can be very difficult for some people, we just swing both legs out to the side and walk around to our tabletop here. So we're going to do some hip motions just to get us moving in our tabletop. And we're going to go ahead and just do some hip circles. So nice little hip circles. We're not going full dancing lion yet. We're just doing these nice little circles. As many of you may know, dancing lion is like my favorite thing. Switching direction when you're ready. Good. Coming into our cat-cow. Inhale, lift the chin, drop the belly, lift the tailbone. Engage the lower abdominals. Good. Chin into the chest, around the spine, push away from the earth. Inhaling up. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. Good. Now start adding those motions together. This is where we get into our dancing lion. Nice big scooping hip circles. Finding any movements that we need. Maybe wiggle it back in child's pose, scoop it around and through to our up dog, cobra. Good. My hips are really cracking today. Jeez. Good. Take any extra movements that your hips might need before we start moving. We're going to get right into our down dog. So first things first, let's break down our down dog. So we're down in our tabletop, right? We want to kind of make sure that before we come into our down dog, we want to make sure our arms are kind of externally rotating just the slightest bit. So my hands are still straight ahead, but my shoulders aren't turning in like this, because we see how like that makes our chest tight and small and close. So we want to kind of pull our shoulders back, rotate them out very slightly. Our hands are still forward, but we're going to kind of like pull those shoulders into the sockets. That's the arm position we want for our down dog. We want the biceps to be kind of spiraling out, elbow creases coming forward, but our fingers are still pointing forward as well. So you'll see this as we come up. So plant the hands firmly and begin to find that motion before we even come up. So start spiraling the biceps forward, elbow creases forward. Good. Breathe. Tuck your toes, bend the knees. We're going to go ahead and push our hips back, begin to lift. I like to tell people to connect the belly to the thighs first and then drop the heels down. Because as always, and you guys have definitely heard me say this before, it is better for your down dog to look like this than for it to look like this. We don't want some weird kind of hunch plank. All right. It's more important for the back to be straight than for the knees. So feel free to have a deep bend in your down dog. It's okay. So we're in our down dog here. And whatever variation you have, it's okay. Obviously, if your heels don't touch the floor yet, it's all right too. Just breathe wherever you are. Try to pull those shoulders away from the ears. Rotate the biceps forward. Breathe here. Take your time. And again, if you're new to yoga, down dog can seem incredibly intimidating. It can be very hard. For some people, it's fine and it's easy, but we have to realize that not everyone feels comfortable in this pose, but I promise you, eventually it will get more familiar to you. So breathing here. We're going to draw our weight into our left foot. Inhale, right leg up nice and high. Keeping our hips stacked, our hips level. So our hips level looks like this, and then stacked looks like this. So level means that they're parallel with the ground still. Stacked means there's one on top of the other. So we're keeping our hips level if we can, inhaling left leg up nice and right leg up nice and high. Sorry if you're a beginner and I'm confusing you already. Geez. Breathe here. We're gonna go ahead and exhale, bring our knee into our chest, hugging it in, protracting the shoulders to give ourselves some more space. And we're gonna go ahead and step through. And if we can't step all the way through and all we can come is here, that's okay. We're just gonna take our hand behind our heel and shift ourselves up. For the sake of safety, in majority of poses, we want to make sure that our heel is not behind our knee. You'll often see with beginners, they come through like this, and this can be very detrimental to the knee. So just always make sure you scoot forward and bring that heel in front. We're gonna inhale up into a high lunge pose. So our high lunge pose is exactly this, where we have one knee bent, nice and strong, other leg shooting straight back, hips are squared forward, pulling the right hip back, left hip forward to help center, inhaling, arms up, high lunge. So again, this is one of the fundamental poses of yoga. This is our high lunge. Good, breathe here for 1, 2, 3. Good, nice and slow. We're gonna go ahead and plant the palms, bending the knee. We're gonna go ahead and put the left hand to the inside of the right foot. Inhale, left arm up for a nice little twist. Good, breathe here. And this is another pose where you can use your block to help lift you if you're not able to get all the way down. Good, breathe here. Nice and slow, coming into our low lunge, taking our blocks if we need to help frame the foot. Breathing here, looking forward. I like to use the blocks even if I can reach sometimes for a nice little added balance and helping with my posture. Good, breathing in and out through the nose. We're gonna step the left foot to meet the right. Release our blocks if we need. Inhale, halfway lift. We can keep one block right in front of us to help us with our lift. So inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bending the knees, hinging at the hips, folding forward. Take a second here, shake your head out. Yes and no. We're gonna take a moment to break down our forward fold. So our forward fold is very similar concept to our down dog. We want to make sure that our back is straight rather than our knees. So we're gonna bend the knees deep, bring the belly to the thighs, let the crown of the head fall forward. Take your time. You can go ahead and grab opposite elbows here if you like. You can shake your head yes and no. But again, trying to make sure that we're focusing on the back being elongated. We don't want to be up here like this. Look at where I'm folding. I'm folding from my spine here. I want to be hinging at the hips. See how big of a difference that is between this and this? So just breathe wherever you are. You can bring your hands down if you like. You can try to fold forward. Bring your belly to your thighs further. Whatever feels best for you. And if this is too much in general, you can just stack the blocks and do like a little squat, hinging from the hips. You wiggle your tail a little bit. Take your time. Nice and slow. We're gonna go ahead and bend at the knees, plant the palms, step back to our plank. So our plank is gonna be shoulders over wrists, nice strong long line pushing to the heels. We're not dumping into the low back here. We wanna make sure we're pushing through, engaging the core, protecting our spine. We're gonna go through our knees, chest, chin, and it's exactly as it sounds. We're gonna bend the knees, touch them down, bring the chest down, chin down. So your nice little inchworm. Slither on through to your cobra, onto your belly. Nice little low cobra first, so hands are planted under the shoulders, toes are untucked. We're lifting just the chest. Hugging the elbows in nice and tight. Breathe here. Nice and slow, lifting up into our high cobra, bending at the elbows. We're never locking, we're always bending the elbows to help us pull through and open the chest. Good, breathe here. Draw the shoulders down from the ears. Take your time. We're gonna go ahead and tuck the toes, bend the knees. We have the option to transition through our tabletop, so we can come through our tabletop first, or we can just push right up into our down dog. So we're meeting in down dog once again. Finding our way there, pedaling it out. And again, taking our time. We go ahead and bring our weight into our right foot. Inhale, left leg up nice and high, keeping the hips square. Take a second here, bend the knee, exhale, hug the knee into the chest, protract the shoulders to lift away from the earth. Breathe, step it on through. And again, adjust your foot as you need. Nice and slow, inhaling up. Nice high lunge. So same thing, making sure our heel and our ankle is in line or in front of our knee. Back heel is lifted, pushing through. We're active through this back leg if we can be. If we need to take a little bit of a bend, it's okay too. I actually find that a little bit harder, so it depends on what your body feels. Nice, strong front left leg, making sure our knee isn't going in and out. Breathing here, squaring the hips, pulling that right hip back slightly, pushing the left hip forward, engaging, knitting the ribs in so we're not dumping into our spine here. We're nice, long, strong posture. Breathe here. Good. Take your time. Maybe look up. And as you get more advanced, there's several variations you can take, a whole bunch of things you can do. We're going to transition into our twist in the other side. So we're going to go ahead and plant our right hand on the inside of our left foot. Once again, maybe grabbing our blocks if we need. Inhale, pull that left arm up, reach forward. Nice little twist. Breathing here. Making sure our hips aren't splaying out. We're still pulling that left hip back. Good. Breathe. Good. For 3, 2, 1. Taking our other block if we need it. Coming into our low lunge here. Looking forward. Good. Breathe. Take your time. Your quad might be feeling this already, so if you need to take a second to shake it out and straighten that left leg, that's okay. Just breathe wherever you are. Again, take your time. Preparing to step back, so utilize moving your blocks if you need to. Planting our hands down, this time stepping back to quick little plank, lower the knees, quick child's pose. I'm going to take a second here, and I want to remind you guys that child's pose is the pose that you can come to at any time, no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're practicing. I don't care if you're in a studio practicing, I still believe you should be able to visit child's pose. And most studios will tell you this, that if you ever feel overwhelmed or just need a break or just, want to sit in child's pose, you can always return to this pose. This is your home base. If child's pose is not that accessible to you, because some people with really bad knees and tight hips may find this difficult, find a pose that feels good for you. Always have a home-based pose that if you are ever overwhelmed or something hurts or you're feeling, things are too strenuous, you can always come back here. So don't ever worry about it. This is always like your little home base to return to. So nice and slow, we're going to start coming up out of our child's pose. Take a second here. Again, maybe shift the hips around once more. We're going to bend the knees, tuck the toes, shift the hips back, down dog. Pedal it out. Nice and slow, drop the left heel. This time, inhale, stack the hips. So stacking the right hip over the left, bending the right knee, and be rolling out the ankle. Take your time here. Breathing in and out through the nose. Good. Squaring the hips back, pulling the knee into the nose, holding here for just a breath. Protracting the shoulders, seeing if you can really lift away from the earth, once again stepping through. This time we're going to turn the left foot 45-degree angle. So this is a common foot stance that you will see in yoga. We have this right foot straight ahead, left foot is about a 45-degree angle. The heel of the front foot is in line with the instep of the back foot. So we are making sure we're pushing into the outer edge of the back foot to not put too much pressure on the knee. So we're going to keep our blocks nice and closed just in case we need them. And we're going to begin to transition into our extended side angle. So our extended side angle is with the right hand on the inside of the right foot, inhaling the left arm up and open. And again, you can take your block here, use it to help lift you if you're not able to reach the ground. And you can use your block landscape or portrait, whatever height you need. Breathe here. The goal here is to stack the shoulders and making sure we're not dumping into our joints. We're extending, lifting, engaging these muscles, opening up this right hip. And again, pushing into the outer edge of the back foot to help stabilize the knee. Good. Breathe here. And again, as always, these cues are meant to guide you. That does not mean it has to be absolutely perfect. Listen to your body. Just breathe wherever you are. We're going to transition and lift up into our warrior two. So nice and slow. If we can, we're going to try to use our core. Pull ourselves up. So bending nice and deep in this right leg, engaging the quad. If you need to take a second to shake it out because we were just in that extended side angle, that's okay. Take a second here, draw the shoulders down from the ears, reaching forward. We're not reaching forward, but we're reaching forward and back evenly. So again, grounding down into the outer edge of the back foot, slight little baby bend in the back knee to keep from hyperextending, and breathe here. I have this crazy little thing going on. I don't know how to get rid of it. Drawing our shoulders down from the ears, breathing. Good. Maybe sinking a little bit deeper if we can. If not, it's okay. Tiny little bit more. Nice and slow. Inhale, straighten out that right leg. We're going to go ahead and reach forward like we're going to touch the wall. Hinge down. So we're flexing laterally over here on this side, but we want to make sure that we're not rotating the rib cage. So the big thing with triangle is a lot of people will come in like this. We want to try to stay as like we're stuck between two panes of glass. We just want to come right over like this, like we're a robot and we're just hinging over. And again, we can take our block to help lift us. For our triangle here, I personally, like I said, a lot of these poses, even if you can get into the advanced variations, sometimes taking a block is just nice to help you lift and get better posture. Let's breathe wherever you are. And again, if you are more advanced and you would like to take a different variation, feel free to do so, but we are going to focus on this block variation for today. And again, keeping that grounding down to the outside of the back foot, reaching up, breathing here, feeling it through the outside of the left hip. Good. Nice and slow, we're gonna go ahead and cartwheel our left hand as we turn our hips forward. So our left foot is staying grounded. Our right knee is going to bend. So if you want, you can watch me through this. My right knee is bending. I'm cartwheeling my left arm down and around, inhaling both arms up for my warrior one. So the difference here between this and high lunge is that my foot placement is the same foot placement as in warrior two. So we will call this often our warrior legs in yoga. So this is our lunge legs, warrior legs. And the difference is in our hip placement. And you'll see with warrior two, we're squared to the side. Warrior one, we're squared to the front, but we still have this back foot 45-degree angle. So inhaling into our warrior one on this side. Good, breathe here. Maybe sink a little bit deeper. Trying to square those hips forward as best we can. Nice and slow, we're gonna begin to come forward as we lift the left heel, bend the right knee nice and deep, plant the palms down. Step back to plank, move your block if you need. You have the option here to go right to down dog or take a flow. You can take knees, chest, chin, or I'm gonna walk you guys through chaturanga to up dog. So chaturanga, we shift forward, our shoulders come slightly past the wrist, we draw the elbows in nice and close, we make sure we don't round it down, we're not trying to bring our chin down, chin stays up, engage the core. Inhale up, upward facing dog, thighs are lifted. Exhale, bend the knees, push the hips back, down dog. Good, breathe here. We're gonna go through the other side. Inhaling the left leg up. This time, once again, stacking the hips, bending the knee, maybe rolling out the ankle. Good, breathe here. Ooh. Take your time. Fix your shirt if you're like me and it's falling off. Breathing here. Nice and slow, coming back to center, hugging the left knee into the nose, engaging here, pushing through, protracting the shoulders, stepping through as best we can. Keeping our block handy. We're immediately going to turn down the right heel 45-degree angle, come into the warrior legs, take our block if we need to the inside of our left foot, left hand plants down. Inhale, peel up the right arm for the extended side angle. So breathe here, find any adjustments that you might need to make. Take your time wherever you are and breathe, making sure we're stacking the shoulders, really reaching up, opening up that left hip, grounding down through the outer edge of the right foot. Good, breathe here. 2 more breaths. Nice and slow, engaging our core as best we can, coming up into our warrior two, taking a second to lengthen and straighten out this left leg if you need to. Shoulders up and open, then drawing down away from the ears. If you're new to yoga, you'll often find yourselves coming up and hunching like this. Try to draw them down. Try to not dump into your tailbone either. Try to pull it in, tuck it down so it's going straight down towards the ground. Breathe here. Good, breathing in and out through the nose. Maybe sinking a little bit deeper if you can. Grounding down to the back foot, engaging the lower abdominals. I don't know who I'm kidding with more cues. I cue this much anytime anyway. So just breathe wherever you are. Good, nice and slow. We're gonna inhale, lengthen and straighten this right leg out. Reach forward like we're gonna touch the wall. Cartwheel that left hand down onto your block. Inhale, right arm up nice and high. And again, we're not hyperextending this front leg. There's a nice little micro bend. We're pushing into the balls of the feet and the heels, all four corners, grounding down. Good, breathe here, pushing into the outer edge of the right foot, feeling it open up this right side body. Breathing wherever you are. This is our Trikonasana or triangle pose. Breathing in and out through the nose for 2 more nice deep breaths. Nice and slow, we're gonna cartwheel our hands just like we did before to come into our warrior one. So again, keeping our legs exactly as they are, rebending the left knee, cartwheeling the right arm up. We're kind of picking up the left arm as we come along. Breathe here, sink in nice and deep. This is our warrior one. Breathing in and out through the nose. Take our time here. Tucking the tailbone, knitting the ribs in. Good. There's plenty of variations. You'll see people do this, this, and again, once you get more advanced, you can feel free to take whatever feels best for you. Good. Almost done. Preparing to fold forward as we turn and lift our right heel. Come down, move our block, plant the palms, step back to plank. Hold here for 3 breaths. So nice strong plank, engaging the core, protracting the shoulders, making sure we're not dumping into the arms. 1 more breath. Lower the knees nice and slow. Sit back for a traditional child's pose, which has our knees together, feet flat, forehead down. Internally rotate the arms so that the palms are facing up and pull them back. Good, breathe here. Just settle in. Take a few moments for yourself. Come into your breath. Nice and slow, we're just going to go ahead and bring our hands forward. Make our way to our tabletop once again. Gently, we're going to come through one last down dog before we finish up. So bend your knees, tuck the toes, push those tailbones, push the tailbone back, lift those hips. Breathe. Just breathing in our down dog for 5 nice deep breaths if we can. I know this pose can be quite hard for some people who are new to yoga because this is a little bit intense on the wrists. But if you can or are able to stay here for at least a few breaths, I encourage you to do so. If you are not about this, feel free to go to tabletop. Feel free to go to child's pose. Take whatever you need. Good, breathe in and out through the nose. And then nice and slow, we're just gonna lower the knees and sit to our Virasana, which is our hero's pose. Nice gentle quad stretch, sitting back on the heels. So take whatever variation of this you'd like. Breathing here. And this is where we're going to end. This is just meant to be a bit of an introduction to some of the standing postures. We didn't spend too long on them, but we also didn't do too many. Feel free to revisit these, play with them, spend longer amounts of time in them. You can begin to connect them together. You can begin to play with different alignments and just start noticing how your body feels. Maybe watch through this again, paying attention to the cues, seeing if you can really kind of dial into each cue. Yoga is always a process. There is never any perfect kind of yoga or perfect way to do yoga. So again, please be kind to yourself as you're learning. And again, even if you are an advanced practitioner, it is always good to be reminded of the basics. So have fun with it. If you are advanced doing this video, feel free to add some binds in or find some more advanced variations if you'd like to take them and have them in your practice. As always, I hope you guys enjoy this one. I hope you find some benefit from it, and I hope that you have fun and enjoy your time on the mat. As always, I encourage you to lengthen your practice if you have the time to do so. Maybe add in a few more things, come back down onto the floor, do a few more things that way. And always, 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 if you have time to take a Shavasana, even if it's just for 1 minute little yoga nap. Thank you guys again, as always, for joining me, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.